Hello everyone.
Hi. Hello.
Thank you for coming today, and I'm so glad to give this presentation to you. And please enjoy this. People believe that human beings are from different animals, which is true, and we are different. But what makes us distinguished from other animals? Table manners when you are eating? Not that different. Intelligence to use tools? Probably not. I want to say the thing makes us different is writing system. Animals can communicate with each other and human beings, but they don't have writing system, so they can't record any information. However, in the past, people didn't have writing system either. So they draw some pictures to record information or deliver some messages, like this way. But about these things, it could cause some misunderstanding, or they couldn't express abstract meaning. So they create new writing system, which is ideogram. Ideogram is like each character has one meaning and one pronunciation. The typical ideogram is Chinese characters. However, about this system, they need a lot of characters, so it means they need to memorize all of words and all of characters. So they felt a little bit uncomfortable about this writing system, so they made new type of writing system, which is phonetics. Phonetics is the widely used writing system in the world, and the typical example of phonetics is alphabet, like English or other Portuguese and whatever. My name is Clevia and I'm from Korea. And when I came to Canada, I met a guy and he asked me if Koreans use Chinese character or Chinese language. And I was shocked because I expected these days many people know about Korea, but it wasn't true. Still, there are many people who don't know so much about Korea. Actually, Korea has own language and own writing system, which we call Hangul. It's kind of Korean alphabet, and this is a really unique and scientifically designed writing system. However, in the world there are many writing systems, but why did I say this is very unique? This is because the history of this Hangul. Hangul is the only one writing system that we know who made it and why and when it's made. Hangul was invented in 1443 by King Sejong. Obviously, he was the king in Korea. And before this invention of the writing system, Korean people didn't have writing system, even though they had own language. So they borrowed Chinese characters from China. And as I mentioned before, Chinese characters are really difficult to learn. And especially the underprivileged didn't have enough time to study all of them because they live hand to mouth and it was really difficult to them. So only privileged people could learn them and they could write and read anything. So the king felt compassionate for this situation and he decided to create a brand new writing system, which is Hangul. And this is easy to learn and is suitable to write down many kinds of pronunciation. So in Korea we have Hangul Day, which is birthday of Hangul. And on that day there is modern dance performance, and it has been performed from 1991 on the birthday of Hangul. This is a practice movie, and it's based on the invention of Hangul, and also they are showing the shape of Hangul by their body. So now we all know Korean writing system is quite unique, and then why don't we try to learn Hangul? So basically, consonants are always paired with. Okay, first I'm gonna give this handout. So everybody get one. So basically, there are 14 consonants and 10 vowels in Hangul, and vowels are always paired with vowels and vice versa. And so the simplest way to memorize the consonants is pair them up with the vowel a, the first one. You can see it. And there is pronunciation, you can guess the pronunciation. So I'm gonna read the consonants and you can repeat that to me. Ka,
Ka,
na,
na,
ta,
ta,
la,
la,
ma,
ma,
pa,
pa,
sa,
sa,
a,
a,
ta,
cha,
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 ka,
ka,
ta,
ta,
pa,
pa,
ha.
ha.
So these are basic consonants, and some of them we can double the letter, but it's quite complicated, so I'm not gonna teach that today. And so there are basic vowels, like 10 vowels, and we can combine them together, but as I mentioned before, it's quite complicated for teaching just in 20 minutes, so I'm not gonna go there. So, like before, I'm gonna pronounce it and you can repeat it for me. A,
A,
ya,
ya,
o, ya,
ya,
o,
o,
yo,
yo,
u, yu, i. So these are basic Korean alphabet. And during watching this, you might think they look quite distinctive. That's because it wasn't affected from any other language when the king made these characters. Consonants shapes are from the shape of vocal organs when we pronounce them. So if I give an example, if your tongue goes back and touch back of the mouth, our tongue makes this kind of shape. And this one became this consonants, the first one in the table. And this has good sounds. And when we pronounce this one, our tongue makes this shape. So, and we can, if I add one line, it gets stronger sounds. K. And if we double it, it becomes this sound and it gets thicker sound, like G. So other consonants have same principle, like the shape of teeth, tongue, or throat. And when it comes to vowels, basically we can write down every vowel just with three things: a dot, a horizontal stroke, and a vertical stroke. And these three reflect the Eastern philosophy. So this dot means sky, and this stroke means the earth, and this one means human. So basically, in the past, people believed that these three were sources of the universe. And in the past, we wrote down like this way, but these days we connect them together like this way. So basically, we can write down everything with just three things. So we learned about pronunciation. So we are gonna practice how to read it together. So can you recognize which pronunciation it has? Yeah, this one has H sound. And this one? A sound. And this one is N sound. And this one is the first consonant, G sound. And this one is U sound. And this one is L sound. So if we pronounce it, it's Hangul.
한글.
Yeah, it's the Korean alphabet. And if you have been to Christie, you might have seen this sign. This Korean store in Christie. And now you can read this sign. So the first consonants have H sound. Can you see? And this vowel has A sound. And this one is N. And this consonant has G sound. And this one is U sound. And this one is G. And basically these are one syllable. And this one has S sound. This one is E sound. And it's the first one. It keeps coming. And this one is P sound. And this one is same as this one, U sound. And this one is M sound. So if we pronounce it, it's 한국식품. Basically, 한국 is Korea in Korean language, and 식품 is food, so it means just Korean food. So if you think about Korean food, which comes to your mind first? Yeah, probably I think kimchi. So now we can write down kimchi in Korean, not only in English. So as I mentioned it before, consonants and vowels are always combined together. So if we write down kimchi in English, we usually write down this way. So in Korean, if it's one syllable, we combine them together. And about this one, actually, the first consonants have good sound, but it's not exactly same sound. So that sound can be written as K sometimes. So actually, this one is the first good sound, and this one is E, and so this one has one syllable, so we write down as one combination. And this one is this one, and this one is like this way. So this is kimchi. So we can write down other countries' food in Korean too. You know what it is? Yeah. I think it's better because it's morning, so maybe nobody is hungry yet. So if we write down this one in English, pasta, right? And the thing you should know about Korean, we have more vowels than English. So in English, I know they don't have sounds in vowel, but in Korean we have it. So this one becomes one syllable in Korean. So if we split them up, like 3 syllables in Korean, of course. So this one is this consonant in Korean, in Hangul, and this one is this syllable, and this one is S sound is this one, and we should write down this vowel too. And this one is this one, and this one is same one, this way. So it's pasta. So I'm gonna have some volunteers, and I'm gonna write down their name in Hangul. So who wanna do this? Not Korean. Okay. So your name is
Kaori.
Yeah. So basically, it has 3 syllables. So this one is this consonant, and this one is the same thing. And this one is, you might think just one syllable, but we have to use consonant and syllable together. And this one has no sound if it comes here. So we write down this one and this vowel together. And this one is, and this one is like this. So as you can see, we can't write down every sound in the word in Hangul, but we can write down most of them. So this brings me the end of the presentation. So in the world, there are over 3,000 languages. However, only about 100 of them have writing systems. So that means there are still many people who can write down even their name because they don't have writing system. So usually they are just small tribes and they have their own language. So in Korea, some organizations suggest them to use Hangul as their writing system. And in Indonesia, there is one small tribe which name is Jia, and they are using Hangul as their writing system now. So they learn how to write down their language in Hangul. It doesn't mean they are learning Korean language, just they record their information in Hangul so they can preserve their culture for future generation. So in their textbook, like everything is written in Hangul. So as the king who invented Hangul wanted, I believe that Hangul will be able to give literacy a whole new life. Thank you for your listening.
Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of feedback from the judges. So let's start with Andrew.
All right, thank you. Great. Okay, so speaking as the one who has known you for a little bit and seen some of your progress, let me just say that it's great progress. Because you always, every time we brought something up, you always made that change and it got better as you went along. So your PowerPoint seemed to get better. So for example, when you stopped and the screen went completely blank and you spoke more directly to the audience, it was just much more effective. Okay, because your eyes tend to look all over the room a little bit, but especially then we weren't paying attention to the PowerPoint, it was just you, and that was good. But you always made those improvements that we talked about, which was really good. Doing the topic of a language is incredibly difficult, so I think you did an amazing job. You know, in 20 minutes to basically teach a language is great. I still can't decide if you're speaking too fast or too slow for it, but you speak very confidently. I mean, you say things like, you know, because they lived hand to mouth, so the king felt compassionate. You have a fairly fluent way of speaking, and that's great. There were a couple things that were a little hard to understand, but I think that's normal with the language. For example, still the sky landscape person thing, but I think that's, you know, pretty unavoidable when you're teaching a language. Let's see. As far as asking a question, can you see, or you know what it is, so maybe work on question forming for people. Your concluding point was very good. Final statement was great. I'm not sure that everyone could see clearly what you were writing down. You said one time, can you see? So I probably wouldn't mention that when you're doing the presentation. But overall, fantastic. You made great improvement. Thank you.
All right, when I look at a speaker's presentation, one of the first things I look at is voice projection. So your voice was clear and concise, and I had no problem hearing you, and I'm sure everybody in the room had no problem hearing you as well. So that's important if you're going to get a message across, that people aren't listening and wondering what did they say. So that's your ability to project your message. So that was excellent. Speaking pace, I didn't feel it was too fast or too slow. You had the right pauses, and along with that is speaking inflection, the use of just not monotonal where you're sounding like you're bored and you're not passionate about what you're saying. So when you use inflection, you're letting the group know that you're thinking about it, it's authentic thoughts, it's coming out from your inside, and it's something you believe in, and it's not something you memorize. When you memorize something, there's less inflection. When you already know the topic, then you can hear the tones go up and down because you're expressive based on your passion on the subject. So that was excellent. One area I think we could improve on is engage the whole audience. You were great eye contact looking at the judges. And this side of the room, I think those guys over there felt a little left out. So maybe what you want to do in the future is use your tripod over in the center, so where you have an eye contact that it looks at everybody. And even professional speakers sometimes will latch on to a person that seems the most interested and always look at them and avoid everybody else. So sometimes you're looking at one or two people in the group, but engage everybody so you make everybody feel part of your presentation. I like the monkey people comparison. You touched on a little bit of humor, and every good presentation, not everyone, but some people use humor to their advantage to get the audience laughing and emotionally involved. So that was good as well. Humor, use of inflection, the flow. I think you did a great job overall, and the preparation, your knowledge, your handouts, your slides showed that you came well prepared. Preparation is the key to any public presentation. If you know your material, you'll ace it. If you don't know it, that's when you start stumbling, a lot of ums and ahs and looking for words. You didn't do that very much, so I can tell you're very familiar with the topic, so great job.
All right.
I'm gonna give this a try.